If a federal agent orders you to leave an area and you comply, but your path is blocked and you take the only other exit, should it be a death sentence? Because that's exactly what happened in Minnesota. So here are the facts that we do know that led up to this incident. Minneapolis has seen a surge of increased ICE activity, specifically in Minneapolis, following the Somali welfare case that the right continues to circulate online. This included 2,000 ICE agents specifically going into communities that had high Somali populations in order to instill fear in those populations. Now, the federal government has said that this is to protect national security, but we know that ICE has never been an agency that protects safety or security. ICE was installed after 9/11 as a measure of the war on terror to instill fear and project force from the federal government. The point was the federal government sees you, you could be a victim at any time, and we will ensure that if you are a threat to the United States, we will stomp that out with as much violence necessary. That is not about protecting people or encouraging safety in communities. That is about demonstrating how powerful you can be as a federal government to stomp out who you view as perceived threats. And we know that the government gets it wrong, as it did with this instance. This was a woman, 37 years old, who attended a protest to advocate against this increased violence in Somali communities, and she was killed. She was asked to leave by ICE agents. As she tried to turn around, the ICE agents blocked her path. So the only other exit that she could follow, where a car literally went about 30 seconds before this incident happened, she gets cornered and surrounded by all of these ICE agents who are demanding that she leaves her vehicle. And in fear, she tries to leave and immediately gets shot and killed. This is insane. She was complying with orders, trying to leave, and she was shot and killed on the scene. Let's watch the video so I can show you exactly what we're talking about. So this is the full video of the incident. Keep in mind that this car is the one that has the woman who was victimized and killed on the scene. This seems to be another bystander. We don't have the full information as things are continuing to come into light, but this is somebody who drives around her quickly to exit the situation. This is an ICE vehicle with agents who have blocked the path. And again, the person behind, if it's bystander, immediately drives around to get out of the incident that's occurring. Now, this woman, as you can see, her tires are pointed this way. She is trying to show that she's making a U-turn. She's trying to get away from the incident because she was told by this ICE agent to immediately leave the scene. So she's complying with orders. She is trying to leave. And as the car drives around her and she's trying to turn around, she's blocked by a truck that is housing other ICE agents. 2 ICE agents get out of the truck and immediately press the woman that's in the vehicle. They say, "Get the fuck out of the car." And as they say that, they hastily approach the car, grab the door, and escalate even more tension by trying to remove her from the vehicle. They're not giving her a chance to do it voluntarily. They're going to rip her from the vehicle. And so in haste, the woman immediately backs up, tries to follow this car right here, who again made a very fast escape from the incident. ICE officials did not follow him. Or did not follow this vehicle. They did not say that this was a danger. They immediately let that person go. And a chief tries to do the exact same thing. Another ICE agent comes and blocks the hood of the car. This goes on to be the officer that does kill the woman. And as you can see, she is immediately away from him. He is not being hit at all. And he starts opening shots and follows the car. Continues to point the gun as the car is out of harm's way, indicating that he is not fearful of his life. He is trying to escalate force. He is trying to show that if you in any way do not comply fully with ICE orders, you deserve the death penalty. You deserve to be shot in the face. Absolutely insane.
God! What the fuck? What the fuck? You just fucking, what the fuck did you?
Bystanders who were there protesting the event immediately go to her aid to help the woman. They're not a violent threat. No ICE agents try to tackle them. And keep in mind, if you put yourself in the situation, I see so many people online trying to justify this and say there's a both sides argument. Maybe we should hear what the ICE officials have to say before we say that this murder is actually wrong. Maybe it's good that she got killed and she deserved it because she was presenting a clear threat to these ICE agents. Look at this video. You're going to tell me that these ICE agents thought that she was a dangerous threat? If you believe this person was trying to kill you in a vehicle, why would you even get close to that vehicle? You were supposed to prevent any harm and any escalation as an officer, and yet you were pressing the vehicle. So this in itself clearly shows that she's not a perceived threat. They are pressing and approaching her because they want to remove her from the premises and again demonstrate the force that ICE is able to do in these communities.
No! No!
Not clear danger. Shoots her immediately as she's trying to leave. He gets out of harm's way and continues to shoot her. There is no world where this is justifiable. While this incident is clearly a tragedy, it is not something that is surprising or unexpected. Those that understand the threat that ICE brings to communities have been warning that something like this was going to happen. ICE is going into communities that is specifically asking for them not to be there. These are naturalized citizens who are saying, no, we actually don't want agents to be ripping our neighbors out of their homes. We don't want our coworkers to feel at threat or their safety is violated simply because they don't have proper paperwork. We recognize in this country that people should go through the legal processes, which is why most people who are undocumented have immigration lawyers, they are going to court hearings. It is not because they are trying to stand here and mooch off of our welfare systems. People are here because they are building communities, they want a better life for their family, as we all do. This didn't happen because somebody panicked. This happened because ICE breeds escalation. They rely on fear tactics and they rely on enforcing violence in order to get what they want. This is what happens when ICE continues to escalate violence and tensions in communities. And if there is no change, if there's no regulatory process that prevents ICE from acting unaccountable, this will happen again. That should scare you. Every community is at risk, specifically those with migrants, but this still puts people in positions of insecurity that are naturalized citizens. We know that people have been taken by ICE agents who are citizens of this country, and that is because they are acting with impunity. Donald Trump has given them full power, full authority, and full ability to get as many people as possible in detainment centers. That is their only goal. The prerogative of ICE agents is to take people first, ask questions later. Why would we expect safety when we are sending armed ICE agents into places where there is zero community oversight and a vague sense of authority? When leaving a scene and following orders is a perceived threat, of course we are going to get tragic instances like what happened in Minneapolis today. Mayor Jacob Frey has already given his take on the situation this morning at a press release. Let's watch a clip of that.
Having them there was only making a difficult situation even more problematic, and one that, yes, they created themselves. There's little I can say, again, that'll make this situation better, but I do have a message for our community, for our city, and I have a message for ICE. To ICE, get the fuck out of Minneapolis. We do not want you here. Your stated reason for being in this city is to create some kind of safety, and you are doing exactly the opposite. People are being hurt. Families are being ripped apart. Long-term Minneapolis residents that have contributed so greatly to our city, to our culture, to our economy are being terrorized, and now somebody is dead. That's on you. And it's also on you to leave. It's on you to make sure that further damage, further loss of life and injury is not done. We're going to be working towards justice as quickly as we possibly can right now. And justice is what we've all got to get.
He's pretty unambiguous in his messaging there. ICE needs to get the fuck out of Minneapolis. And these are the same words that should be echoed by different law enforcements across the country. Local governments should do everything in their power to protect their constituents. And lack of paperwork does not mean that you are a violent threat to the country. Most Americans, if you polled them, would say that violent retribution should only be done to those that are committing violent crimes. And I think you'd find few people who would say that law enforcement would not be able to meet violence with violence. But it is not violent to not have proper paperwork. It is not violent when you have been a contributor to the economy for 10 years and you are being ripped from your workplace. It is not violence when family members are being separated from each other because grandma doesn't have proper paperwork. This is state terror, plain and simple. And anybody who's trying to justify state terrorists coming into communities and ripping people from their homes, they do not see the full picture. Because if you were in this situation, if your family members were the ones that were affected, you would have a much different take on the situation. If you're somebody out there that's saying back the blue, or she should have complied, or you shouldn't resist law enforcement, the Minneapolis police chief said that this was a preventable tragedy that was escalated by ICE in that exact same press release.
A very difficult time for everyone in the city. And this is obviously a very, very tragic situation where a woman has lost her life. That being said, in addition to this tragedy, which unfortunately we did predict, we were seriously concerned about further escalation from the scene. And I want to thank the elected officials that came themselves to help us prevent that from happening, as well as the individuals on that scene that remained peaceful and that abided by law enforcement instructions so that we could preserve that scene and ensure that a full and transparent investigation can take place. That being said, I just echo the mayor's comments that we ask that the community continue to call for peace. We understand people are going to be upset about what happened, and people are going to want to exercise their First Amendment rights, but please do so safely and lawfully to ensure that we do not have any further tragedy in this city or destruction. Thank you.
So there you have it. If you want to listen to law enforcement's words, if you want to heed their orders, listen to the Minneapolis police chief directly saying that ICE is the one who escalated this conflict. This was a predictable situation that they knew would happen if ICE continued to go into communities where those residents are demanding their departure. People don't want ICE to be ripping apart their neighbors. They don't want to see their friends in handcuffs just for not having proper paperwork. And you cannot expect people to just sit by peacefully and watch that happen without protesting. And then you cannot react to those protests by demanding that people who are trying to flee scenes deserve the death penalty. But maybe we all have it wrong. Maybe the police chief, maybe the mayor, maybe every citizen that's demanding that ICE leaves. Maybe we're actually the domestic terrorists. At least those are the words of Department of Homeland Security Secretary and known dog killer Kristi Noem.
So a couple of questions there. You asked about a shooting that we just had in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It was an act of domestic terrorism. What happened, it was our ICE officers were out in enforcement action. They got stuck in the snow because of the adverse weather that is in Minneapolis. They were attempting to push out their vehicle and a woman attacked them and those surrounding them and attempted to run them over and ram them with her vehicle.
The person that is in charge of these ICE raids openly saying that ICE is not responsible. They don't escalate situations. We don't need to hold any accountability for the person that shot a woman as she was fleeing. This was actually a domestic terrorist act. This was a premeditated attack from the woman to directly harm ICE agents. Can we watch that terrorist attack again one more time? Let's see what it looks like real quick.
No!
Again, backing up. Cars there signaling they want to make a U-turn, trying to leave. Interesting. Okay. So that's what terrorism looks like in America, apparently. It is you in your car leaving because you were directed by ICE agents to leave in your car. Got it. Thank you. Thank you, Kristi Noem.